Father dies in custody. It happened right here in Las Vegas.
Now his family wants to know, how was he allowed to starve to death? John Trainer has tonight's special report in Vegas Lost.
Yeah, Stephen Burrell's death was slow and long. For the 26-year-old father, death cannot be counted in minutes or even hours, but days. Stephen starved to death in our city jail while guards took notes. Tonight, the Burrell family wants answers, and the city of Las Vegas doesn't want to say a word.
The judges, the correctional officers, whoever saw my cousin withering away to nothing, they should have stood up and spoke out. We could have helped.
Before you understand how Stephen Burrell died, you need to know how he lived. He was 26 and a father of 2. He made his living working jobs at restaurants in the southwest of Las Vegas where he grew up. Burrell made such a name for himself here, he earned a nickname, the Southwest Legend. It was at the sprawling Desert Breeze Park where Burrell found himself. As an adult, he played football here, and as a kid, he learned how to take a risk. His sister, Shakoya Blue.
I don't know, like maybe 9 or something. And it's funny because he came home, he came in the house, and he was like gushing blood, and my mom was freaking out because she didn't know what happened.
Who did something to my child? So I piled all his friends in the car. I was like, take me to them. They all didn't say anything till we got there. He fell and hit the pavement. So I was gonna have a fight with the pavement.
Back then, his mom packed a group of his friends in the car, ready to find out what happened and ready to hold someone accountable. Today, she brought that same group of friends to that same park, again, trying to find out what happened to her son. Later in life, Stephen would struggle with mental illness. He didn't tell many people. His mom didn't know. His sister didn't know what he was diagnosed with. The autopsy report would show his diagnosis was schizophrenia. When he was on his medication, he was fine, but he started to wander away from home. His cousin, Ronique Smith.
His sister was the home that he went to every time. We called him a roamer. He would roam.
Those trips would occasionally end in handcuffs. Burrell has a long list of arrests for misdemeanor crimes. The police would often mistakenly list his address as the streets, confusing him for a homeless person. But Burrell was a couch surfer with no shortage of couches. Raise your hand if he spent a night at your house. Okay. So it was no surprise as 2019 was just beginning that Stephen Burrell would wander again.
He was living with me, and he left. He told me he was going to come back, but he never came back.
He was arrested here at this Roberto's taco shop on Cheyenne Avenue. He wouldn't leave, refused, was arrested for trespassing. It was his 15th trespass arrest in just 2 years. The story of Stephen Burrell's death is scattered through jail paperwork and city emails. At the time of that arrest, he is listed at 160 pounds, though his sister tells us he weighed more than that.
He was a big guy. Big guy. All he did was eat.
That's going to be important. At the jail, he is recognized by a Sergeant Smith at booking and placed in administrative segregation for psychiatric evaluation. We don't know much about his next month in jail, but on February 2nd, an officer notices he hasn't been eating. On February 9th, a decision is made. They're going to put Stephen Burrell on a food log to track just how much food he eats during meals. 7 days later, he hasn't eaten anything. A doctor is called, and on February 15th, he orders another food log. We have a copy of it. You can see 20 times over 7 days, officers write he did not eat. The only exception is one spot that's blank. Officers noticed Burrell wasn't showering. He started to smell. On March 5th, just 4 days before he dies, guards decide to start checking on him every 15 minutes. You can see he barely moves. Over the course of 4 days, he's only seen sitting up 5 times. While this is happening, Stephen Burrell is supposed to be in court. He has a court date set for March the 6th, a warrant from a previous trespass. But he tells the guard, "You can't make me go." And they don't. Instead, a judge orders him to be rearrested and rebooked in jail. He is. This is likely the last photo ever taken of Stephen Burrell, wide-eyed and skeletal, gaunt. At this point, he has not been recorded eating a meal since February 2nd, more than a month earlier. In the morning of March 8th at 4:25, Officer D'Angelo Chaparro notices his breakfast tray hasn't been touched. He asks Stephen Burrell if he's going to eat. Burrell doesn't say anything. They note that he is breathing, but he doesn't move. He doesn't speak. By 5:12, he'd be dead. He weighed just 126 pounds.
I had comfort with him being in jail because I know he was safe. I thought he was safe. And I guess he was not.
So how did this happen? How does an otherwise healthy young man starve to death? The city of Las Vegas had a policy in place to make sure no one would. In 2005, the Department of Detention and Enforcement adopted a policy for hunger strikes. It involved daily vital checks, and if the inmate appeared to be unhealthy or in danger, they were to be taken to UMC's emergency department. That didn't happen here. Why not?
We're actually looking to see if Michelle Freeman is in.
The city of Las Vegas and the head of the Department of Public Safety, Michelle Freeman, aren't talking. Neither is the lead investigator in Burrell's death, Jessica Watson. The city of Las Vegas did send a statement telling us, quote, the city is going to decline the request for an interview based on potential litigation. We do not know the results of the Department of Public Safety's internal investigation. They won't tell us. We do know from reading emails that the investigators seemed friendly with the staff she was investigating, like in this email, where Lieutenant Caesar Landrove, one of the men called after Stephen is found dying, tells the investigator in his death that he owes her one. The city struggled to find out who Stephen's family was. Need to be prepared, they write. The family is going to have questions. His mom is still waiting for answers, a fact made more painful when you know this. She is an employee of the city of Las Vegas.
I'm waiting to hear what happened to my son.
Who was supposed to give you that call?
That's one of the questions that I don't want to get into right now.
You think that call's going to come eventually?
It hasn't came in a year. And I ran into the person.
There is no record of the investigation into Stephen Burrell's death being handed over to the district attorney's office. We don't know if anyone was fired or reprimanded. The city did make a change, though. Just 3 months after he starved to death, the Division of Public Safety created a new policy for hunger strikes, which makes staff counsel an inmate on the dangers of starvation, makes them find out why the inmate is choosing not to eat, and mandates force feeding if inmates go 24 hours without liquids. Stephen Burrell's family still has a lot of questions about his death. They have yet to get a phone call from anyone telling them their son died. They suffer in that silence.
You ever going to get that answer?
I want to say I will because I have to. I have to know everything.
Yeah, we are trying to get those answers as well. We're asking the city to this day, will you comment on Stephen's death? We have much more on our website, including some experts on what they would do if they were in charge. You can find that on news3lv.com. Guys?
Wow. John, thank you.